Hi everyone, today I want to take a look at a new field monitor from Andyson. And full disclosure, I've had a relationship with Andyson for many years now, and time to time they'll send me emails for products they'd like me to review, and most of the time I decline, but this one in particular I wanted to share with you because I thought it was a really nice upgrade to previous monitor reviews I've done. Alright, let's start out with the good stuff and what I thought were significant upgrades over previous monitors I've looked at on my channel, and that is, number one, it's now a touchscreen. In the previous monitors I've had, you had to control or access everything in the menu through like these 8 different buttons on the top. There are a couple of function buttons where you can set up some shortcuts to special features, but now this monitor being a touchscreen, you can access the entire menu through the touchscreen interface, and then you can also customize 6 or 8 functions at the bottom to anything that you want, so you can have this monitor work best for whatever your workflow is, whether you're a videographer or a photographer. Alright, now there's a few ways to interface with the touchscreen. I can just double tap in the center and this will give me access to the main menu, to all of the different features available on the monitor, or I can just swipe up from the bottom and this will bring me up virtual shortcuts to any of the features that were in the menu. So for example, if I wanted to bring up focus peaking, I can just tap this shortcut right here and focus peaking comes up, or if I want to see my histogram, I can just tap there. And I have one histogram, or I can toggle through the various histograms that are available to me. And if I wanted to reprogram any of these shortcuts to do something else, so say for example I wanted to look at my exposure via false colors, what I would do is just bring up the shortcuts, double tap on the key I want to change, and then just hit on the left arrow or right arrow to cycle through the different features I can reprogram. So I've changed it to false color. I'll just tap in the center to deactivate, and then when I swipe up again, now this is programmed to false colors. The screen is also split into 2 zones on the left and right, so if I'm monitoring audio, say through the 3.5mm headphone jack on the monitor, I can adjust the volume by swiping up and down on the right side. And if I want to adjust the brightness of the monitor, I just swipe up and down on the left side to adjust the backlighting. Alright, now another great feature is a pinch to zoom. So let me turn off the false color. So if I want to achieve critical focus, I can just kind of zoom in and then move this over to exactly where I want. Let's say for example I want the digital 25mm to be perfectly in focus. I can punch in to get a nice magnification, and that combined with the focus peaking, I can make sure I achieve critical focus on the exact spot that I want. And then you can just zoom back out. Alright, now we have a few more updates to the exterior here. We now have a standard USB-C power jack here so that we can power the monitor with any standard USB-C power supply. This USB-C is also used to update the firmware of the monitor, as well as you can load your own custom LUTs. I think up to 32 of your own custom LUTs, and I'll demonstrate that a little bit later. We also have a standard DC out 8.4 volt supply here, so we can actually power our camera or other devices directly from the monitor. But to do that, you have to actually plug in an external 12 volt power supply into the side here to be able to use this power output. And then on the top here, we have those 8 buttons I mentioned earlier, and you probably won't need to use these very often with the exception of the power on off button. But the unit actually comes provided with a standard NPF 570 battery, and this battery can be charged through its own USB-C port, so you don't even need a separate power supply or power adapter. You can just use any standard USB-C power supply. And then on the back, we have an external NPFB or dummy NPFB battery, and I've seen people attach like those HDMI video transmitters to the back. That's a common use for that. And then of course we also have a standard 1/4-20 jack here in the center, as well as on the bottom and this side and on the top. Alright, then finally we have our HDMI input and output here, so we get a clean HDMI pass through to maybe another monitor or that external HDMI transmitter I talked about earlier. And the unit actually includes this standard HDMI to micro HDMI cable. So basically with the battery and the cable and this mounting bracket, everything you need to get started is included. Now if your camera has a different HDMI port, some cameras are now coming out with the full HDMI ports. You will need to get a different cable, but the included one I think fits the most cameras that this monitor is targeted for. Now I wanted to talk about the L bracket that's included here. It's been updated slightly in that this nut here on the side no longer has to be loosened or tightened to rotate the monitor. The monitor now rotates just based on friction. And it's really tight, so it's not going to move once you have it in position. However, what I recommend is, because it's so tight, you need to set the monitor in the position you want it first before you start framing, say, particularly if you're on a tripod or a gimbal or anything. So set this first. There's a little hot shoe here, of course, as before, if you want to attach or cold shoe, I should say, if you want to attach a microphone or additional lighting here. And then the L bracket bends around and goes right into the hot shoe of your camera here. So you can rotate this monitor this way. So if you want to do like vlogging style type recordings, or rotate it back this way, you know, to have access to the touchscreen and everything else. But the only thing is this does not really rotate this way, because you have to tighten or loosen this nut here. So you want to also position this in the spot that you want it, and then tighten this down so it doesn't move again, because once you move it like I'm doing now, it becomes loose. So you don't want that. All right, and I just wanted to quickly show you some additional functions in the menu, just to show you we do have everything. So the first item here is mainly for our videography stuff. So we have our waveforms here, our vector scope, our level meters, and also our RGB histogram there. Turn that off. The next one here is like our center marker, safety frames, and grid lines if we want to have those. And then down here we have our aspect ratios we can set. We also have several anamorphic aspect ratios included. And finally, we have the colors or LUTs that we can load in. Now, it looks like you can load up to 32 custom LUTs. It comes preloaded with some standard LUTs like S-Log2 to Rec 709 or V-Log to Rec 709. I loaded my own LUT here from OM Systems, the OM Log 400 LUT. So if I can record OM Log 400 on the camera, but display what the final graded footage will look like approximately. So I loaded in the OM Log 400 to Rec 709, and then I'm going to turn it on, and you may see a slight difference. It's actually a little brighter now, right, and giving me better colors. And then finally we have our settings for like our on-screen display. And then last we have the function buttons here for the two function buttons on the top. So I programmed these function buttons, the function 1, just to be a quick zoom. So I don't have to do the pinch to zoom. I can just do a quick look like that, and it'll just focus in on the center. But, you know, of course we have our normal pinch to zoom here. And then the last one, the function 2, I set up to flip the monitor around. So if I happen to rotate this to face forward, I can quickly push this button to set the viewing into the proper angle. Now I do want to mention one more thing here about the overall usability. The monitor is rated for 500 nits of brightness. So in practice, what I found is actually it's a little bit brighter, maybe twice as bright as the live view screen on my camera, but in full sun it's still hard to see. So they included a sort of a monitor hood here, which helps quite a bit when you're in full sun. So you can use this outdoor, but just keep in mind it's not a whole lot brighter actually than your own camera monitor. So were it not for this lens hood, it would be hard to see in full sun. So this monitor has a ton of updates to it from even the monitor I got just a couple years ago. I mean, I really like the touch functionality of just this pinch to zoom, the USB-C, and also they're including a lot of things here at even lower price point than the previous monitor. So not only do you get the NP-FP battery that comes with it, and the battery that comes with it, you'll get about a couple hours of life out of it. They've included the HDMI cable to micro HDMI. And they've also now included a nice hard case that comes with it. I'm a sucker for, you know, products when they come in their own nice case. So overall, I'm really impressed with all the updates they've done to this monitor over the last couple of years. And the fact that they're able to do this at a lower price point and include the battery, the cable, and a case, I think makes this a tremendous bargain, and I can highly recommend it. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope to see you again soon.